Hi everyone, so this is the second of the videos. I'm doing two on flexibility and mobility, and then I'll do a couple on strength. So we've done the joint freeing series for mobility of all of the joints, and this practice that we're going to be doing today is more, again, another floor-based one. This is going to be working on, well, specifically creating space in the front of the body, targeting the psoas muscle that runs from the diaphragm down through the pelvis, connecting to the top of the legs, and it's the fight or flight muscle, so it can be very, very contracted, and a lot of our posture is creating contraction in that muscle as well. So a lot of the practices that we do in our classes are creating length and space in this part of the body, really to create space to be able to breathe more effectively. But we're going to move through a very short sequence on the floor, but just to have that in mind that we're working from the diaphragm to the tops of the thighs, creating space here. Which the benefit of all these, like I was saying with the joint freeing sequence, is once you become aware of the practice on the floor, you can see how it will affect your practice in like more of a dynamic moving class. So the psoas muscle, when it's contracted, makes some poses quite challenging, like tree, for example, or the warrior poses, or like dancer pose or wheel. So at the end of the this little sequence, I will give you a challenge that you can build towards, which you'll probably have been doing with me if you've been in class. So the one we're going to start with is bridge. So coming onto back, feet on the floor, hip width. So just start with that pelvic tilt as we were doing in class. So trying to find the tailbone, rolling the small of the back into the floor. So start with that tiny little micro movement with your attention on your pelvis. My attention's also on a cobweb I found. And then make it more dynamic. So we're going to roll the small of the back into the floor and lifting the hips. So we're finding length at the front of the thighs, creating space in the front of the hips here. And make it dynamic by pressing into the feet. So rather than kind of just collapsing into the pose, really press into the feet, drawing the hips up. So you're creating a lot of length in the front of the thighs and the front of the hips here. So hold, and then just slowly roll down, and then move into that more breath and body movement. So you're inhaling, lifting up, exhale, rolling down. We're still trying to keep that focus on stability as you're moving in and out. So you're not sinking into each pose, you're really active through the feet. You're really mindful as you're moving up and down. And I might not have enough space to do this, but I was going to invite you to, as you inhale, lift the hands up and overhead. Exhale, slowly rolling down as you bring your hands back by the side. So doing that 3 times, moving with the breath. And then taking the feet wide, width of the mat, and then just slowly windscreen wipering the legs one way and another. And you can bring to mind that space from underneath the ribs, the tops of the thighs, moving through the pelvis. You want to kind of visualize this length that we're trying to create. And then just hold one way. So you can add to that twist with the knees to the left, for example, moving the shoulders and the head towards the right, throwing the right shoulder down, looking to the right. And just pausing and trying to soften. And then use your inhale, your core muscles to bring your legs back up, back to that wide stance, and then taking the legs to the opposite side. And again, you can twist space here, length that we're creating through the front of the body. One more breath, and then bringing the knees back to the centre. Bringing them back to hip width. Just take the left leg out long and bring the right knee in. So moving into Apanasana. Knee into the chest is active. We're pressing the knee towards the chest, and as you do that, you may feel more of a stretch through the front of the left hip. So breathing into that space, again with the attention on the psoas muscle. It's quite nice to hold these statically so that each breath is more, the muscles have just got that little bit longer to start to find a little bit of strength. A little bit of stretch. And then the next side. I always imagine it like, when you pull a jelly baby, and there's like a little bit of give to start, and then it just slowly lengthens a little bit more. And I kind of imagine like each breath that you stay just creates that little bit more stretch, so that even when it moves back to shape, then there's a little bit more length to it. So just drawing it towards the chest. The last couple of breaths, you can start to draw it out maybe towards the armpit. Taking them both legs out long. We're going to move into a supported bridge here. So if you have got a block at home, you can use that, or you can use just stack some bricks that, stack some books that feel quite secure. So what we're going to do is take the block under the sacrum to support here. So just feel like you can feel supported. So you can actually stay here if that feels quite nice and grounding. I'm tempted to myself, but I want to take the legs out long, so you can do one at a time. Thinking psoas muscle again, we're trying to create that length. So you can do one leg at a time here, left, then right, finding a stretch down each hip, or you can do both at once, so taking both legs out long, and seeing if you can hold in that pose. So it's a little bit like moving towards a yin style here. But this is a beautiful pose, this supported bridge, to start to find that room underneath the ribs. This is so chronically tight in a lot of people, myself included. So you can actually even take your fingers under, run your fingers under your ribs. Just massage, start to release any tension there. And seeing if you can use that space to breathe, feeling that space balloon underneath the ribs. Feeling the belly button rise. And if you want to, as you spend a little bit longer in that pose, deepen it. You can turn the block from the wider edge to the narrow one to make it a little deeper, but listen to your body. You can try it so it feels right. So that will again deepen that stretch. Just be mindful of the lower back. If it's not happy, move back a little. So wherever you are, just taking a couple more breaths. And bringing your feet back onto the ground if you've taken the legs out long, and removing the block. Just bringing the knees back into the chest to give yourself a hug. So here's where we would end our practice. You can use this time to move into Shavasana, or now we've created this space in the belly, maybe move on to one of the breathing practices, or just go about your day. And well done you for practicing. From this strange stance, I'm going to say, right, namaste.